Welcome back, horror fans, cinephiles, and giallo enthusiasts. This is Tanner Leeser, your host for all things giallo and giallo adjacent, I guess, here on The King and Giallo, and this is another unscripted talking head movie review. This is for the, let's call it the Italian rip-off exploitation film Obscene Desire. This I received in the Bloodstained Italy box, the pack from Vinegar Syndrome, and it seems like a lot of people, this is their introduction to this movie, and I can kind of see that. I can understand why this doesn't really jump out as a very well-regarded Italian horror film. Not that it's bad, but there's so many that inundated the Italian genre cinema scene in the 70s and the 80s, and I want to say this is 1978, this film. So I'm covering this as part of covering the three movies that are in that box set. I did already talk about Death Falls Lightly earlier this year. Maybe I'll revisit it. Probably not. I don't know if I really need to, but I will be giving Death Falls Lightly a Jolly Tally now that it is available on Blu-ray as part of one of the main carriers that I cover movies from, which are Blue Underground, Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, and then sometimes the others like Severin, Mondo Macabro, Diabolic, Cauldron, 88 Films, whatever. But anyways, and others. But anyways, let's talk about this movie. So first and foremost, this is directed by Giulio Petroni, who, I actually didn't check to see if he has directed any giallo films. I don't believe, in terms of where I'm at in covering giallo films, that he has, but let me just confirm that. I don't recognize all of these titles, but none of them jump up as giallo films. Night of the Serpent, what is that? Totally sounds like a giallo film though, but as far as I can tell, he did not direct any giallo films. Anyway, so he directed this. He co-wrote it along with Piero Regnoli and Joaquín Domínguez, and this stars Marisa Mell, who was in giallo films such as Perversion Story and Seven Bloodstained Orchids, Chris Avram, who was in A Bay of Blood, and Lou Castel, who was in Orgasmo. So it's pretty cool that it actually stars three big giallo veterans, but it really kind of stops there. I would say in terms of other giallo films, first and foremost, this is not a giallo film. I mean, I think I've already made that clear, but let me just say that again. This is not a giallo film. The other two movies in the box set are giallo films, so I don't know why they went with a Exorcist ripoff movie, but alas, they did. Also, Bloodstained Italy. I haven't watched the Bloodstained Lawn as of now, but I can tell you Death Falls Lightly and Obscene Desire are not particularly that bloody. Not that they are without blood, but like Death Falls Lightly didn't jump out to me as a really gore-soaked movie. So to put these movies in a box called Bloodstained Italy, I do find it very odd. I will also say that as much as I love Vinegar Syndrome, sometimes it feels like with a lot of these box sets, there's always like one, sometimes two, but there's usually always one movie that really feels like they were like crowbarring it in to kind of justify selling three movies. This is not to throw them shade. I love their work, and they do a great job bringing movies that, for the most part, would not be seen again unless by diehard genre fans, bringing them to the surface. Like Arrow is great, but Arrow doesn't really bring you super obscure films. Vinegar Syndrome really is the GOAT in terms of bringing you ones that nobody's talking about, which is cool. But yes, still, I stand by that, where I don't know why these movies, again, I can't say that for the Bloodstained Lawn, but I don't know why these movies are in a box called Bloodstained Italy. I feel like they could have come up with another name. As of right now, I couldn't tell you what they could do to substitute that, but this movie, it's very gothic considering the subject matter, but funny enough, the first movie that it was reminding me of was Mario Bava's Lisa and the Devil, and I haven't seen Lisa and the Devil in like 12 years, but it was kind of reminding me of that. I don't know why. Again, it's hard to put my finger on it, But oh my gosh, this movie is I don't want to spoil anything with the plot. I will say that there seems to be a general consensus online that I looked up after watching the movie. After having seen the movie twice, I watched it again. A lot of people seem to all be in agreement that this is an Italian ripoff of Rosemary's Baby and a little bit of The Omen and a little bit of The Exorcist. And it's very, very true. And also from what I could tell is this isn't a particularly good ripoff of any of those movies. You know, when you run the gambit of Italian ripoff exploitation cinema, you will get some very interesting things. And even if it's like a mixture of two movies that have no business being ripped off in the same film, you will generally get a very interesting movie. Maybe it's not accurate to any of the movies it is ripping off, but at least it's some good old Italian schlock that we all come to love. That's why some of us are fans of giallo and fans of Italian horror and any of these other rip-off genres that they do, or even the cannibal films. But it's just so funny that they have a whole sub genres of let's rip off zombie movies, let's rip off exorcist movies. And whereas you had some pseudo giallo movies that were being pushed by the advertisers or by the studios to be more in line with, hey, let's try and rip off The Exorcist, most of the time it's just in the name. And so I think like White Dress from Mariella, they really, really kind of like put that in there to have it's either White Dress from Mariella or it's The Weapon, the Hour, and the Motive, one of the movies that I've covered very recently. But they put it in there where it's like, let's just call it House of Exorcism or something like that, where we're going to try and sell this as if it's an Exorcist movie, and nowhere in the plot is that evident. At least this is an Exorcist type demonic forces movie. Oh my gosh. So there are some fun stuff. There are some fun things in this movie. I would say overall it is very slow. The pacing is very slow. It's not in the way of very, very unique. I can't really say it's bad. I don't find it particularly great. This is going to be a really hard one for me to go back and rewatch. I just didn't really see much appeal to it. I would say the funniest, and I don't really go on Letterboxd because I don't use it, and generally my haters are on Letterboxd, so that's kind of rubbed me the wrong way with using that website. But I did go to Letterboxd just after watching the movie to kind of see what other people had said. And that's what I said, like the general consensus is very much, it's just an Italian ripoff of Rosemary's Baby. One comment, I should actually find it, but one comment was like, it's Rosemary's Baby with like a lot of Italian sex and nudity. I can't remember how they worded it, but it's so true. Like there's a handful of sex scenes in this movie that just go on. And if you've seen enough of my videos and my reviews, I'm very open with the fact that I don't care about a sex scene. Like it doesn't ruin a movie for me, but especially with these 70s Italian movies, a lot of the times they just threw in a sex scene because that's how they were selling a lot of these movies. And it's like 5 minute scenes of nothing happening. And it's like, I love slashers. I love seeing boobs in slashers, but at least that's like 15 seconds. Like, oh, the teens are getting at it. Oh, there's the boobies. And there's Jason and he killed them. Oh, what fun. I don't need to see a 5-minute sex scene. It's like, it's different when you think about how widespread pornography was at the time and how hard it was to come by. But living in the age, the age of information, the digital era, the internet is just ubiquitous in all of our lives. I don't need to see this in movies. I'm not arguing that it should be cut out. It's just, I'm just not gonna say like, and guys, it's got a lot of good sex scenes for the fellas. Like, I just think that's it's just a stupid thing to be like, guys like these movies because of the sex scenes, like, and that's it. But there's a lot of sex scenes in this movie, and there's a lot of them that are shot in slow motion. Like I think it's the second or third sex scene in this movie that's shot in slow motion, and the way it's shot is just like, dude, I feel like I am watching porn right now. and I don't need this in my Rosemary's Baby ripoff movie. And then there's a scene where it's the Rosemary's Baby type scene where the main girl is having sex with the devil, and the way it's shot, it's not even a sex scene. It's just Marisa Mell lying on the bed, like naked, as you're hearing like like heavy breathing, and then by the end of it, you're like, so she like had sex with the spirit of the devil or something? I don't know, but it's fun. It's a fun movie. I wouldn't buy this for that movie, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to really say about this movie. It's interesting, but yeah, it's not really a great Rosemary's Baby ripoff. It's not a great Exorcist ripoff. In terms of Exorcist, it's really only like one moment that I can recall near the end. And then in terms of it being like an Omen ripoff, again, it's like more near the end in terms of like the conspiracy of what's going on. I don't know, but check it out. Let me know what you think about Obscene Desire, and let me know if you've purchased Bloodstained Italy or if you plan on it. I hope I didn't dissuade anybody. That's never my intention. It's just, I'm not going to lie in any of these reviews, because this is just my opinion. It's just my thoughts, and I'm not going to go and say, oh, it's so great, it's so amazing, everybody needs to buy it. But Death Falls Lightly is decent in terms of giallo. It's fine. I'm about to finish out my coverage of 1972 in giallo films, and I think there was like over 30 something giallo films I covered this year that were all from 1972. Not to mention all the ones that I covered in the Forgotten Giallo Films episodes that didn't have wide releases. They didn't have modern, DVDs or Blu-rays. Well, Death Falls Lightly was one of those movies, and now I'm going to go back and give Death Falls Lightly a Jolly Tally because, thanks Vinegar Syndrome, now it's available. But I mention all that to say that Death Falls Lightly, don't hold your breath. Don't, that this is going to be in my top 10 giallo films for 1972. I can tell you right now, it's not. And then The Bloodstained Lawn, I believe, is 1973. I will review that sooner rather than later. So I will review that ahead of me actually covering 1973. I might be pushing 1973 off until 2026. I don't think I have enough time in the final months of the year to knock out 1973 before it rolling over into the new year. And it's like, I could, but I think I'll just save it for the new year. And 1973 is going to be way faster than 1972. Like, the amount of giallo films from 72 to 73 is like, it's like that. It's way lower. So we'll see. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on the movie Obscene Desire. Also, I'm not a big fan of that name. It's funny because most of the new titles are trying to bank on, let's name it Exorcist House, or let's name it House of the Devil, or something that sounds like that. And this one, they're just like, no, Obscene Desire, which, I mean, it makes sense for how much sex and nudity, full frontal nudity there is in this movie, but it just kind of begs the question, why didn't you try to market this more for the devil stuff? But whatever, you do you. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the movie. I'm gonna not give you too much of the spoilers, but you can kind of see where that movie's going. Other than that, like, I just don't have a whole lot to say. that's just the way it is. But check it out if you get the chance. I'll try to put it up, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't want to get in trouble with Vinegar Syndrome or any of the copyright holders, but if they allow it, cool. If not, no problem. You might have to go somewhere else to find it, but we'll see. Anyways, thank you for watching. Check out my upcoming unscripted movie review for The Bloodstained Lawn after I watch that and cut that. I think at the time of me putting this out, I think I would have just finished Death Walks at Midnight, and I will be going into The Weapon, the Hour, and the Motive. So if you're watching this at the time of this coming out, there's 2 more giallo films for 1972. And other than that, yep, leave any questions, thoughts, curiosities, or concerns in the comments section, and I will get back to you. And beyond that, thank you for watching. Thank you for being subscribed if you are, and if not, why the hell aren't you subscribed? You do you. I ain't gonna I'm gonna force it. But thank you again for watching, and this is Tanner Leeser for The King and Giallo, and if nothing else, I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Así bramando, gorrieta no me serpe culo.